You know what? I want to do a roll call. And I'm going to ask you, and I'll interject with some of my guys. Want you to throw a bunch of names off. We want to talk about Crips and Bloods. We're not going to deal with the Mexican gangs because we don't know too much about them. But
Why are we doing that?
huh? I don't know. I don't know, too many about them.
Okay, you can name them. I ain't want to name.
I want you to name some. I'll name them.
Okay.
The guys that were from Compton that are, in my mind, Compton legends. Just to get our shot to some roll calls on some guy. See if you don't recognize them. Know anything about them.
Okay.
All right. One of the biggest ones that I remember from Compton, and I'm just talking about the 90s, late 80s, 90s, that a lot of people talk about because people don't understand why we always talk about LA and Compton gang members is because y'all know these guys on the YouTube and in the ganglands and stuff like that. You start going to other states, they were the little homies or homies that went up and set up something out there from the 80s and the 90s. And so these are guys that y'all know from Compton. I don't know if the first one I always start off because he was one of my favorites because he was a D-boy and a gang banger from Santana Block Crip, Turtle. Yeah, any history of Turtle?
Where McDonald's is on Rosecrans in Long Beach.
Okay.
It used to be a gas station right there. And
76.
back in the days, back then, Turtle used to have these rollers, blue rollers in his hair, and he had, I think, a 65 or 64 white with the pot of blue writing, Bad Habit Rabbit on the side of it. If anybody know that dude, he was with it. He had money, and he was with the business.
Turtle.
We ran into him at the gas station quite a few times in Compton, and same energy.
Yeah. And that gas station is where a guy that actually from LA, his brother got killed. Huncho brother. Can't think of his name off of hand, but that's where his brother got killed at that 76 gas station.
I think I know you.
But yeah. But we're going to just deal with Compton guys right now. Well, while we're dealing with Santana, let's go with another guy he was in jail most of the times that I was on the streets of Compton as a cop.
Mm-hmm.
But my dad, just like he had respect for you, had a lot of respect for this individual. Freddie Stays, gangster.
Don't want to mention him. I don't know nothing about
him. You don't know nothing about
Freddie?
No. Okay. Well, just know that he was out there, active. I remember him for mainly going into jails in 4800 block when him and Marcellus were cellmates, or they were doing something in the 4800 block Crip module.
Well, let me say this. He spoke on me. Before he spoke on me, I've had a conversation with him before, which was a cool conversation. When the FG shit came out or whatever, he spoke on me and said that he the gangster, he the woo-woo, he should be doing Gangster Chronicle.
Everybody was politicking for that job.
No, but wait a minute though.
Yeah.
I ain't never spoke bad on you, homeboy. And then he said something and I had to address it on Bound First, remember?
I remember.
I didn't fuck with you like that. He know of a situation with Robert Regans. If anybody know Robert Regans, we was in the car one day looking for trouble. And him and Robert Regans was cool. That's the G homeboy. And it was like, shit could have went bad if it wasn't for Robert Regans. I'm banging, we banging, he banging. So it could have went either way. But what I'm saying is, that's the only time you like really interacted with me. And when you had the pager shop and I had my truck in the back getting the
mufflers or
getting the what they call it? The small did.
Small too.
And it was what's happening, whoop the boom. But now you go gangster on me. You feel me? When I addressed it, I left it alone on Bound First. His son had recently passed, and I sent a shout out to Melly Mill to tell him, my condolences, yada, yada. a lot of these cats, I don't have no ill will. The ones that I know of or growing up, certain people, if they with it, their name's gonna ring regardless. If they've been to prison for this or that, their name's gonna ring a bell. You feel me? I know who that is, but I ain't got nothing to say about that brother.
Melly Mel, the Hood Postman.
Right.
Yeah, I ain't picked up or know about his YouTube channel. Y'all need to check it out.
Right.
I think he's more knowledgeable and more well-rounded, better than Cal Mack, who y'all give a lot of credit to. No disrespect to Cal Mack. Well, I just like the way
Melly
Mel
Mel said I didn't know how to drive a lowrider or hit switches or some shit. I called a homeboy and said, "You got a line on this dude? Me and Melly Mel need to talk. You don't know me like that." I ain't never said I was one of the first Pyrus in Compton. I'm too young for that.
Yeah.
But this is what he had said.
Oh,
but
no.
after I got a line on him and called him, me and him talk, Melly Mel been 100 ever since. I've been fucking with Melly Mel since then.
Good deal.
Who else?
Tracy Batts. You ever had any dealings with Tracy Batts from Atlantic Drive?
Tracy Batts had hands.
Yeah. He was a fool.
I think him and George had a fight. Or was it Lee? And they fought like dogs.
You know, we always talk about Lee Ford. Tell us a story. That's your road dog. Tell us about Big Lee. And Stan Shepard. Shout out Stan Shepard. You're doing great things.
Right.
In the city of Compton.
You remember Bolo in the old karate movies that used to come on at the Soul Train?
Yeah.
The Chinese dude?
Yeah.
That's Lee Ford.
Oh, really?
And, man, you know Lee Ford.
I know Lee Ford really well, but I didn't know he was a fighter.
Oh, no. We had an incident one time, and I don't care if Lee whooped that ass. Lee always come to me and say,
he's so mild-mannered.
"Mob, how did I do? Did I get it?" Yeah, you see him over there. Every time. Lee has always worried about what other people think about
the perception.
His skills.
Oh, his hands, huh?
Yeah.
Because he's so big,
Man, Lee was the biggest cat in the hood.
Yeah.
And never went to prison. And he was over there in Fruit Town in the dead end, man, nipping that iron every day.
Yeah.
But Lee was respected because he was a big cat, but he was humble. But when he had issues,
because his daddy was a good dude.
Yeah,
Mr. Ford walking around.
Mr. Ford it's like a Reggie Wright.
Yeah.
Senior, he's just like your daddy. Yeah. And everybody that went to Stephen C. Foster.
We was trained. He kept us in line. He made sure nobody came on that campus.
Exactly.
Tripping. Exactly.
You ain't finna come on
that campus tripping.
Yeah, so.
We need more of that in our schools.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's go on the red side since we tapped on the blue side a little bit. Let's talk about, you knew him a little well. Let's talk about some issues with Keefe D. People like to hear about Keefe.
Keefe D, when we had Let Me Ride Hydraulics, they had the hydraulic shop.
Okay.
And we wasn't competing with how they was building their cars, but Lil Boomer can actually tell you a better story. Everything that I took out of Dr. Dre car, I put in Boomer car. And Boomer shit was bumper. Boomer put holes, opened up shit, and did shit to them hydraulics. Boomer shit was hot. But I know Paula, and I know Lil Keith. They lived across the street from my daughter's mama, Pam, on California. I never had a problem with that guy. When Pam came on Killing, and Paula came with Pam, kicked it, whoop, and then bam. Paula used to come to, when I got with Pam, we had the house on, and she would come over there on Diane. She would come through there and bam. Yeah. Other than that, nothing. I don't have nothing but.
And that's why you have a good relationship with his son, Lil Keefe.
Yeah, and I called him nephew, but the way this shit is going and how he feel, I bagged up.
He's supposed to defend his father. I don't care, no matter what.
No, me and his daddy ain't had no issues until this YouTube shit.
Yeah.
But I ain't gonna allow your daddy to say, woot the wham bam. Nigga, if you knew I was a motherfucking rat, you should be in the same motherfucking line as all these niggas that wanna call me one. but you see me, you ain't got that energy. If you want to call me something, say it right here. I'm here. I'm gonna defend myself.
Gotcha.
Or I might walk away. Call me what you want. But you gangster about it. You want to get on a podcast and say you this and that. I ain't got on no podcast and disrespected you to on no level. And I can.
Yeah.
I can. I can go off his what they call it, his cripping.
Yeah. A guy that I didn't care about too much, but he's rest in peace now. But he was a legend. He was a terror.
Who?
Stanley Pitts.
He was a power road. And Stanley Pitts didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Stanley Pitts did Stanley Pitts. But and this is the coldest thing. I'm a youngster. And talking to Stanley Pitts up in Ludus Park, Stanley Pitts believed in what he was doing and how he was living. And he didn't care what other people said. And he used to say, "Lil homie, none of this shit really mattered. The only thing that matters is what you do and how you do it in this motherfucker."
Okay.
And I believe that. Like China Dog used to say shit, and I used to pay attention to China Dog.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, my groove finna be like this.
Yeah.
And Mob James believed in his shit by watching Rodney Colbert's, the Bojangles, and all of these guys. I'd put all of these cats in one. It was homies that I seen on they squabble like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And everybody I put in one, and then I stuck it right here. So Stanley Pitts was like a motherfucker.
Yeah. My girl. We talk about Cynthia Nunn while we're talking about
Cynthia Nunn always had our back.
Yeah.
Cynthia Nunn,
Love that
I
girl.
don't give a fuck if a girl came and knock on her door and said, "I ain't got nowhere to go."
Yeah. She gonna
bring your ass in here, and she gonna sit you down, she gonna feed you, and she gonna tell you what your chores is. Just the only way you can stay here.
Yeah.
And she did that. And she's still doing it today. So Sylvia was the I'm with it, whoop, whoop, whoop on P-Phone.
Oh, man. I remember Sylvia, my last conversation with Sylvia was, "That nigga tripping on you, Reg? I'll dress up like a man and go get him. Do you want me to go get him?"
She ain't no joke.
Like, I ain't that bad at that nigga.
Yeah, she wasn't no joke.
I'm cool.
She was for real.
I love me some Sylvia.
But yeah, Cynthia always gave back, always looked out for everybody that came
Exactly. We'll clear up our roll call. We're just doing a roll call. We're going to do some roll calls on different people. It's a guy that I always hear you talk about. I don't know much about him. And I haven't gave my boy Melly Mel show that much attention to listen to when he talks. But I heard you speak real highly of him. A dude named Bam. What's the story on him?
Bam is a Crip. But if you listen to Bam talk, you can tell he been there. You can tell he done that. You can tell he got stories. He do not hype his story to suit him. It's flat. You can tell he authentic. You can tell he been here.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck what hood we from. I don't give a fuck how we live it. But if you don't give credit to the niggas that's been there and explaining the steps to this shit, that's why niggas get caught in the blind all the time, because they're not paying attention to the nigga that's keeping it real. And I told Melly Mel, man, I listen to Bright Dog, I listen to
Bam.
Yeah. And those two dudes, they talk. Whether they Crips, whatever, I listen. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, okay, I relate to some of the shit. I ain't did that much goddamn time in prison because I went the first time.
Yeah.
This ain't no fun without a gun.
like that.
I fuck a knife. I need a gun. I need to pop you. Nah. But yeah, I give respect where respect is due. And those two guys really explain their situations well.
Gotcha. Okay, well, that's a roll call. If you guys have got any other guys from Compton area that y'all want to hear about, please hit us up in the comment sections. And on our next set of episodes of tapings, we'll be glad to do a roll call on
Right.
them.
And mind you, this is only the beginning. I mean, like I explained to Reggie, I want our conversations to get deep and be really in tune with pretty much everything that's really fucked up out here. And let's what we say is only our opinion.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna ridicule. I'm not gonna degrade. I'm not gonna do none of that shit. But I'm gonna voice my opinion on some of this bullshit that these niggas is doing out here.
Yeah.
And that's only being fair and keeping it square.
Hey, James, appreciate being back with you. I hope like hell this works. We're going to get it.
No, you're starting off wrong. This is what it is, Reggie. I'm going to tell you this. It's going to work for us. We already got
Power
chemistry.
the tongue, huh?
We already got chemistry.
Power the tongue.
We already know each other.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? There's no bone in my body think Reggie going to fuck me.
Yeah.
And Reggie ain't got to worry about James fucking him. So we good.
Yeah.
And I fear those that want to come in between you and I.
Yeah.
Because
ain't happening. We done been
nothing's gonna happen again
exactly.
that I'm gonna sit down on, that I'm gonna keep my mouth shut about.
Yeah.
You feel me? So we good. And through the grace of God, man, we gonna continue, we gonna keep going, and how people feel doesn't matter. James and Reggie gonna do it, man. We gonna get it. So
shout out, Vlad. Appreciate you, man.
All
Appreciate
the time.
opportunity, brother.